Rukus Avenue Radio.
Hello, I'm Rita Meher, and you're listening to Rukus Avenue Radio.
Namaste and hello, Rukus Avenue Radio listeners. This is your correspondent, Priyadarshini G. We are live today via Zoom, speaking with the co-founder and executive director of the Tasveer South Asian Film Festival, Rita Meher. Rita, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Priyadarshini, for having me.
No, thank you so much for joining us. We know that your festival is live, and we just heard that you had your opening night last night with 4 samosas, and we're going to be speaking to the director, Ravi Kapoor, shortly. But how does it feel? How was opening night?
We were just blown away. I don't know how much you know about Seattle. Seattle has a very temperamental weather nature, so we weren't sure. It was lightning in forecast, and our audience is a little bit moody, but they're very supportive. So we were thinking, people will show up maybe. But they came in numbers, and the house was packed, and that we had so much fun. We had a dhol player who played dhol. We marched from the brewery to the theater. People connected after post-pandemic. It's a post-pandemic first full in swing, in-person event. So we really enjoyed it. Had samosa chaat and beer.
Oh, what a combination. That sounds like a great combination for moody weather too. So to make everyone get comfortable and everything. So anyway, I'm going to give our listeners a little background. So for its 17th anniversary, the Tasveer South Asian Film Festival, TSAFF, will take place for an 18-day extravaganza from November 3rd till the 20th of 2022. The festival creates a lively, stimulating, and focused environment for conversation, education, and exploration of issues that face South Asia and its diaspora. So tell us more, Rita, you've been involved with the festival since its inception. And to give our viewers a little bit of background about yourself, Rita Meher has been running Tasveer since its inception from March 2002. Before diving full-time as executive director, she was a video producer and editor. She has produced award-winning public television shows and made her career debut on TV in Japan in 1995. Her passion is to bring to light the stories of the South Asian diaspora. She is also fluent in English, Hindi, Odia, and Japanese. So that's a wonderful repertoire. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what your vision is for Tasveer moving forward from here on out.
Yes, it's a long story. It will take forever if I start talking about it, but I had never imagined in my wildest dream that I will be running a film festival. That too for I've been running the organization for 20 years and the festival for 17 years. And when I started out, I was a Japanese translator, moved here from Japan to Seattle and looking for work in Japanese translation job, but looking like a brown person translating Japanese to English, English back to Japanese, nobody hired me. So I was having my midlife crisis there. And then 9/11 happened, and my best friend and I, we both everyone was so in this emotional state and trying to search their identity and how we were misrepresented in the mainstream media. So we both jumped into it with our both feet, and we wanted to set out to dispel stereotype and whatever misinformation that was given in media back then. And we thought there was no better way to do this with video or films or storytelling that could really penetrate a wider community in short time. So we used film as a tool to dispel stereotype and bring stories by and about South Asian community. And is that the question?
Yeah, you answered it beautifully. And I know on top of 4 Samosas, which opened last night, you guys also have wonderful films that focus on social justice, LGBTQIA rights, gender equality. Also, you have the Canes winning documentary, All That Breathes, with Tasveer alumni Shonak Shen, who's going to be attending in person. So what does the significance of having Tasveer back in person signify for the festival moving forward?
Yeah, the significance is huge because though pandemic had made us, whether intentionally or non-intentionally, we had to pivot to online programming in last 2 years. But then we really missed that warmth and coming together under one roof and talking to each other, being close to each other. And that bring a certain kind of healing when you're with someone and connecting. You can do only as much Zoom as you can, but after a while, you have to get together, create a community. And we had worked on that for 20 years, and then suddenly it was shut down. So we had to kind of, I wouldn't say starting from scratch, but it's the reinventing the wheel and getting the community out and come meet, and let's keep it local also, not just national, but let's keep our programming local, bring out local filmmakers, bring people to this community and meet. And otherwise we will all hide in our rooms and watch Netflix. We don't want that. We want our stories to come out and meet. The best thing is you're meeting filmmakers in person and talking to them. Nothing is better than that. A Q&A after a film with the filmmaker in front of you. It's just powerful, empowering. And you won't imagine how many people come forward and say, I want to go into this. I want to tell my story next. I want to bring my movie to this festival. So
no, that's wonderful. And I think all of our fans would like to tune in from all across North America and global listeners that we have. I'm sure they can tune into the virtual aspects of your film festival and maybe tune in to find out what's next for Tasveer as they continue to be in person and attend next year, maybe. But it was wonderful speaking with you, Rita. I know we're a little short on time today, but I'd love to pick this discussion up informally later and keep that connection going. But thank you so much for taking the time out to speak with us amidst your festival that's going on currently. I know you're in a separate room. But thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you all the best for Tasveer, and we look forward to what you guys bring next year as well.
Yes, thank you, Priyadarshini, and thank you for letting your platform to us to talk about our festivals. Thank you for all the work you do.
Of course. Thank you so much. So Rukus Avenue Radio listeners, stay tuned to see what Tasveer South Asian Film Festival has in store this year virtually, or if you can go to attend the 18-day festival, please go ahead and check out what the screenings are, or you can check them out virtually as well. And obviously stay tuned to Rukus Avenue Radio for more information. This is your correspondent, Priyadarshini G, signing off. Until next time.
Hello, I'm Ravi Kapoor, and you're listening to Rukus Avenue Radio.
Namaste and hello, Rukus Avenue Radio listeners. This is your correspondent, Priyadarshini G. We are live today over Zoom, actually, with a dear friend, colleague, and Rukus Avenue family, Ravi Kapoor, who is a writer-director of the hit Four Samosas. So, Ravi, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Happy to be on Rukus Avenue Radio.
Like we said, Ravi is very close-knit to home, and we all love him here in LA and Los Angeles, even though we're doing this over Zoom in the same city. You know, he actually just arrived from the Tasveer South Asian Film Festival, which happens in Seattle, because his film Four Samosas opened the festival last night. So congratulations, Ravi.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a blast to be at Tasveer. They really know how to put on a party.
Oh, I heard the weather was no bar and you guys had a blast and it basically sold out.
Yeah, it was cold. Yeah, right. It was a bit cold and wet. I wasn't quite dressed for it. You know, when you leave LA, you look at the weather and on your phone and you go, it can't be that cold.
And then reality hits you that your flip-flops are not good enough to travel.
No. This is why I have a cold right now.
Right. Awesome. Okay. So Rukus Avenue Radio listeners, let me fill you in on a little bit of background about Ravi. As I mentioned, he's a writer, director, and actor who was born and raised in Liverpool. Four Samosas, which he wrote and directed, is his second feature. It premiered at Tribeca and has been picked up by IFC Films for North American distribution. Ravi trained at the East 15 School of Acting and has worked extensively in both the UK and America. He also directed and co-wrote the feature Miss India America, which sold to Netflix worldwide and is now available to purchase on most streaming channels. His short films played and won awards at various festivals in the US. He's appeared in numerous TV shows and movies, including Flight, Book Club, The Starling 24, Sharp Objects, NCIS, Elementary, The Brink, and so much more. He was a series regular on the shows Gideon's Crossing and Crossing Jordan, for which he also directed. Ravi, that was a mouthful to just mention, but I'm sure you've lived through it. So what does it feel like having heard your background read out loud?
It sounds abridged, actually.
Really? Okay.
It was way more than that. I have much more than that resume.
Of course. I like that. A lot of people feel overwhelmed having heard their bio read out loud. They're like, wow, I've been through a lot, and it's only just beginning, it seems. But this is a really interesting and fresh take. So yes, tell us about your journey and your inspiration when it came to like growing up, or what led you towards filmmaking.
As the bio indicated, I was born and raised in Liverpool. I started doing school plays when I was like maybe 13, I think, and just fell in love with the whole idea of being on stage, and I felt incredibly comfortable on that spot, because I was a super shy kid, and now I'm a super shy man-ish. And it was a way for me to express myself and have a voice. And so I then went to drama school in London when I was 18 and trained as an actor for 3 years, and came out of drama school, worked in London for about 10 years and in theater, TV, and film, and started writing during that time as well. I started writing plays, and my first play was a play called Oh Sweet Sita, which was a verse play, and it was a modern retelling of the Ramayana. And I kind of started writing because I didn't really see the challenging parts for South Asian actors in the UK at that point. I was trying to figure out where are our Hamlets in some ways, because we weren't being offered the Hamlet role to play. So I thought we had to make our own Hamlet roles. So I started writing these plays, and did pretty well and was happy to be there. And then I moved to America a long time ago. And I came here thinking originally I wouldn't be an actor here, just because I was looking at what the actors were doing back then. This is about 25 years ago. And I think the South Asian actors at that particular point here in America, it was a little bit more aggressive in terms of what they were having to do, as opposed to in the UK. It was still just, it was the accent just for comic effect. And I have no problem with doing the accent. It just depends on what it's for and what the point of it is. But back then, about 25 years ago, that's all that was really going on, it seemed. Sorry, let me close the door because my dog is barking.
No worries. What kind of dog do you have?
So I kind of came here thinking I would just be a writer, but I got here and didn't know who I was writing for at that point. Back in England, I was writing stories about the British Asian experience, and I was writing it for the British Asians as well to some degrees. But I came here not knowing who the new audience was and what the stories were. So I fell back into acting, but got really lucky and landed series regular roles, first on Gideon's Crossing, then on Crossing Jordan. For 6 years, and I directed in the final season of that show, and kind of came away going, I still want to find out what my own voice is as a creator, as a writer-director. And so I started shooting shorts, and then eventually co-wrote the feature Miss India America with my wife Mira, and I directed that. That was about 6-7 years ago. That was with Hannah Simone and Tia Sakar, and it did pretty good. Did well. We were happy with the film. People seem to respond to it and to its authenticity. And then I was trying to get bigger films off the ground. They almost happened, then didn't happen, almost happened, then didn't happen. And I need to go back and rediscover my voice, because in the process, I felt like I'd kind of been writing for other people and to other people's notes, as opposed to what my own impetus was and my own sense of taste was. So I decided to shoot a low-fi heist movie, which was Four Samosas, and we raised the money with the help of private equity investors from the community, and it really did end up becoming very much a community project. We use people, everybody that we knew, to help us get this project off the ground.
No, that seems like a wonderful, wonderful journey. And it includes a lot of self-discovery, as you said. And I think that's what being an artist is about, is discovering not only your voice, but where your voice lends to others, because this is not just about self-discovery, but it's about who we are as a culture, as an identity, and where we go from here on out. So tell us what For Samosas means to you when you talk more about the story. It's had a lot of critical acclaim and success in multiple different film festivals, including Tasveer, which you, like I mentioned, you opened last night. So let's start from there. How did it feel opening for Tasveer South Asian Film Festival, and what was that audience reaction like?
Tasveer was awesome. I mean, they really did kind of roll out the red carpet, literally, for the film. And it was a really lovely, warm audience, I felt, over in Seattle and at Tasveer. I'd never played anything at Tasveer before. But it's a great festival, and it's got great people running it. And I think the festivals often end up reflecting the people that run them. I think it's inevitable, and it can't help but take on the atmosphere and the personalities of the people that are in charge and from the top down. And I just found everybody to be so welcoming and so film friendly as well. You know, they wanted to tell these stories and get them out there.
That's wonderful. So how many of your cast were able to come along, and what was their reaction like? How do they feel going on this ride and wave with you? I mean, you're the filmmaker, but it must be exciting for them too.
Yeah, you know, we had 3 of our cast members were there. We had Sharmita Bhattacharya, we had Navan Patnaik, and Sonal Shah. Our lead actor, Venk Potala, who's also one of the producers on the film as well, couldn't make it. But we had him on the phone and a microphone, so he was he was
virtually present.
He was virtually present, and he did get to participate, which we were very happy with. But I think it's great when you can bring the cast along with you to the film festivals as well. Yes. I think people really get a kick out of it, and they get to really get a sense of the whole production and what it meant to everybody, and how close everybody was, and what the atmosphere was like when we actually shot the film. And you get a sense of the community that created the film.
Absolutely. And that's why I asked, because I feel like audiences, specifically at a film festival, go, bananas over actors or cast and crew, just to realize the magnitude of how much of a collaborative effort filmmaking is. And it's not, with all due respect, of course, the filmmaker is the captain of the ship and steers everyone in the correct direction. I feel like you get a whole sense of community, and that's what film festivals are about. You were sharing one film's community with the rest of everyone, with everybody else's communities. And so now with For Samosas, what direction are we expecting to see For Samosas go in? What about distribution and so on and so forth?
Yeah, we've been picked up by IFC Films to do North American distribution. So we're going to have a release on December 2nd. And so we'll be at a bunch of theaters around the country, mainly kind of art house theaters. And there will be what's called a day and date release. So it will also be available to purchase and rent online on places like Amazon and Apple, iTunes on that day as well, on December 2nd. And then after that, they have a whole pipeline where it'll go to AMC Plus and then to Hulu. Eventually, will be I was going to say its final resting place, but that sounds like
it's the final SVOD.
Yes. And then after that, it will kind of kick on from there to another life as well. But that's the plan. And IFC have been a brilliant partner in terms of releasing this film. They totally get what it is. They are everything in terms of what the title of even their company, Independent. They understand that what this film is. It's an independent film with its own voice and its own authenticity, and they are right behind it. They're right behind it, and they're really giving and involving us as well in the process of making sure that we're happy in terms of the how we're marketing the film.
I love hearing stories about Indians not only being, like I said, the captains of the ships when it comes to writing and directing and acting, but also playing a big role in distributing and marketing a film, because oftentimes those things get lost in translation. And as you know, I come from a film festival background too, and I see that usually those discussions don't involve the creative people, which is sad. And I'm glad that you are that voice and advocating for all of us in that sense, and to make sure that your story is not only heard, but given the most wide scope, like capability for everyone else to connect and be able to, take part of this, I would say, phenomenon. Every time I go online, I see Four Samosas, which is amazing. So it's congratulations to
you. What are you saying? Everybody's sick of it?
No, I'm saying everybody is loving it so much that they keep talking about it. And no, that, like I said, it's a phenomenon. And I feel like we're in that area, in that space of media where Indian and as well as South Asian representation is being taken seriously. Like you mentioned, when you first started coming on, it was, maybe Apu from The Simpsons, and it was, for comedic effect. And, also speaking with Rita, who is the co-founder of the Tasveer South Asian Film Festival, where people had a very stereotypical version of what Indians looked like. You were either the terrorist post 9/11, or you were the, science person with the accent who can help you in a situation, or the person getting killed first in a horror movie. And those were all very regressive, because have you ever seen a Desi person who doesn't know what to do in a moment of chaos? We always know what to do. We're always the beacon of some type of answers. And everybody whenever you're confused, you always go to the brown person, because the brown person looks like they know what they're doing. So to see that in a lot of predominant mainstream Western cinema of these stereotypes, it was disheartening. But now I see that the tide has changed, and you're a part of that, the whole wave that's making these changes.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, even the difference between now and when we released Miss India America about 6 or 7 years ago. The things are different. You can really see that it's different. And I think people are taking diversity more seriously, and they're taking it seriously not necessarily just out of a moral compunction. It's because they recognize also that there is money to be made out of diversity too. I think there's a recognition that there's an audience out there for it, and not just the inbuilt audience of the people that are on the screen in terms of how they look, but I think everybody is willing to see other people's stories a lot more now than they were about 6 or 7 years ago. In some ways, we've almost had like a self re-education, I think, as a society to some degrees, and we are more. I think we're craving to understand and learn about each other and be entertained by each other's stories.
Absolutely. You mentioned your wife is a keen player in helping you to write and also kind of influence your past projects and your future projects. So I know she is an artist in her own right and a very acclaimed actor herself. So please describe how your joint collaborations have kind of propelled Four Samosas or even Miss India America back in the day.
I mean, obviously much more directly in Miss India America, because we wrote that feature together. In terms of this film, it's very much been a family affair from the beginning. It's Mira's in the film. My daughter Maya is in the film. My son Milan did some of the music for the film. So it's been a real family collaboration in some ways. I'm very lucky to have such talented people in my
under one roof.
Under one roof, yeah. It's just having Mira around and through the journey for both of us as South Asian artists, and having each other to lean on and understand the struggles and the joys of doing what we do it's been invaluable. I'm very lucky.
No, I wish you guys the best of luck with Four Samosas and your whole talented household. But after Four Samosas and the distribution that our Rukus Avenue Radio fans are looking forward to on December 2nd, like you mentioned, while it makes its ways through all the platforms and iterations, what can fans expect from you next? What's your next project looking like?
I got a couple of things in development, so we'll see which one pans out first. There's something I definitely want to do over here in the States, and there's also something I want to do in England as well, set in Liverpool. So we'll see which one gets off the ground first.
That's awesome. We look forward to staying in touch and figuring out where how everything pans out. And just feels like a brand new start and a brand new beginning after Four Samosas. So we wish you all the best, and we look forward to watching Four Samosas. Like we said, December 2nd is when it releases domestically, publicly. So please stay tuned and check it out.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having us on board.
All right. Thank you so much, Ravi. This is Priyadarshini, your Rukus Avenue radio correspondent, signing off with Ravi Kapoor, the writer-director for Four Samosas, which also opened at the Tasveer South Asian Film Festival in Seattle last night. Ravi, thank you so much for coming on the show, and we look forward to keeping in touch.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Rukus Avenue Radio.